How frustrating is it when you get to your weekend round of golf and you are just not striking your irons well? The ball's going all over the place, you can't seem to control the strike location, you can't seem to control the low point, and it is very, very frustrating. Well, today we're going to fix that for you, and we're going to show you how to compress the golf ball properly to ensure that you strike it excellent on the golf course. Getting compression isn't just striking the ball out the middle of the club face. There is a few more elements that we need to it. The first one is we obviously need some form of descending blow onto that golf ball. So we need an attack angle that is more downwards onto that golf ball. That means the low point will be further ahead of the ball, which means we're going to always strike little ball, golf ball, before big ball, the world. We also need some element of path control. Now we need this so that we can get face control. If we have the pair together, we're going to 1, compress the golf ball, 2, hit it straighter, 3, hit it longer. If I have a path that's coming out to in on the golf ball, I'm more likely to keep the face a little bit more open, adding loft, which means I'm not going to be compressing the golf ball. If we have the path coming in more neutral, we can then control the club face and get some shaft lean at the same time. So we're going to set up a drill that you can do very, very easily on the driving range to help you compress the ball more. So the little drill station is set up. We can see that we've got a basket and a towel. 2 tools that you should probably have at a driving range. So we've got the basket, which is just outside the ball line, and that is to help us create a different path back to the golf ball. If we were to carry on swinging out to in on it, we would see that we would hit the basket. So that's going to sort our path element out of our compression. The second one is our towel, which is about 6 inches behind the golf ball. And this one is to create that angle of attack that's more downwards onto the golf ball. If the lowest point of my golf club is somewhere back here, then by the time I get back to the golf ball, I'm going to be hitting more up onto the golf ball, and that is not a compression element. So what this towel does is gives us a little bit of a scare factor, because if we hit the towel, we know our low point is somewhere back here. If we don't hit the towel, we start to move it more forward, our low point gets somewhere just ahead of the golf ball, then we know we're hitting down onto the golf ball, we're going to be compressing it a little bit more. So one of the most common faults we see in amateur golf, this drill is perfect for. Now, most people think that they actually need to lift the ball into the air to create that height, when in fact what happens is you put a descending blow on the golf ball, giving it backspin, and that creates the lift for you. So what we'll tend to see is when someone gets to the top of their golf swing, they start to work down, they're going to start to back up. As they're backing up, you can see the low point is now somewhere behind the ball, and because they're backing up, the swing direction is going to get more and more out to in. That then loses all 3 compression components that we're looking for. We've got a low point that's somewhere behind the ball. We've got a path that's working across it, so it's creating some side spin on the ball, so that's not going to feel too nice. And also, because we're hitting across it, we've got to open the face, which is adding loft, and that's not going to be a compression element either. So the way this drill works is we're just going to take our normal setup position. Now we're going to want to stabilize on our lead leg here, because our back leg is going to be on its toes. Now you can see if I do that, I've stabilized over my lead leg, my low point is somewhere probably a little bit too far ahead of the ball. So at setup, what we're going to do is we're going to bring our lead leg in a little bit just to start off with. So it's probably about a club head in front. And then from there, we're going to stabilize that right leg. And you can see here, I've got no weight bearing on that foot. So unless I'm a ballerina, there's no way I'm putting any balance on my toes there. So you can see all the weight is stabilized around my lead leg. And if I take a few practice swings from there, you can see that I'm hitting the ground somewhere probably 3 inches ahead of the ball. And that is a good element of compression. The low point being 2 to 3 to 4 inches ahead of the golf ball. Now the other thing this sorts is where I've got my feet on an angle, you can see that this is helping my body rotate open, and then on the way through it's going to keep that body in this position a little bit more and create a path that works more out to in. So again, if I do that practice drill a few times, I've got this low point that's forward. I've got this path that's working a little bit more in to out. Now that then means I can stabilize that club face a little bit better. So if I now keep the club face looking down at the ground, I've got it a little bit more shut, which allows me to get a little bit more compression into the golf ball. You can see now I've got three elements going on there. I've got a more neutral path, I've got a handle that's forward, and I've got a low point that's ahead of the golf ball. Because you're balancing on 1 foot, this is obviously going to be silly hard to do to hit long shots. So all we're going to do is try and hit it 30 to 50 yards in this drill, get the feels for what we're trying to do to hit a lovely compressed shot. So lead foot just in there, balancing on the lead foot. We're going to make sure that face goes back a little bit more down to the ground, and we're going to make sure we turn around the axis that we've created with our feet. So let's fire one of those away, just 30, 50 yards. Very nice. So that was a very nice shot. Now, a few things that we can use from the studio in here is you can see that my club path was 6 degrees in to out. So 6 degrees in that direction across the ball, which would create a draw shape. My club face was slightly shut to the path, which means I've created this little draw shape here. My angle of attack was 5 down on the golf ball, which is pretty good. And then my low point distance, which is great, I said between 2 and 4 inches ahead of the golf ball, we got 3 inches ahead of the golf ball. So some really good numbers just on that little shot that we've hit there. And with this drill, we're looking to hit it relatively low and on a draw shape bias shot. So again, if we do that, we've got the ball into here, we've got a couple of inches ahead of the ball, on the toes on the right foot. Remember, if I back up from here, I'm probably going to fall backwards, and that is not something we want to do. Balancing on that lead leg, we're going to keep that face nice and to the ground on the way back, and we're going to follow the arc of the foot shape. You can see balanced on that lead leg. Again, low draw shape. You can see path face, low point, all good numbers. And the strike felt very, very good. So if we then start to build that drill out a little bit, so we can hit it slightly longer in the same position, we can hit it slightly longer. So again, there I've carried it 50 yards, gone 70 yards. So let's see if we can add on 20 yards, doing the same feel. We're just going to add some length to the golf swing this time. There we go. And again, struck it absolutely lovely. We've got that low draw shape that we're looking for. Path at 2, face slightly shut to it, low point 4 down on it, carried it 90 yards, so we hit it a little bit longer. Now, what we're doing in that drill is just trying to get some feels of what we're trying to do. Now, for me, when I feel like I'm doing that, I feel like there's a lot of weight. There's probably, there's definitely 100% weight on this leg, but it feels like there's a lot of weight. There's probably 60, 70% weight on this left leg, keeping the club face nice and shut as I take it back, and I'm getting a nice big turn to the top of the swing. So if I then set the ball in and we go to a normal setup and we feel exactly the same thing, still at low speed, still trying to hit it only about 100 yards, I'm still going to feel exactly the same thing. So I've got some weight on that lead leg, this feels shut, and I get a nice big turn. Okay, so we can see low draw again, club path at 4, angle attack 5 down, low point 3.5. So they're good numbers to have to compress the golf ball very nicely. Now, if we build this drill up to full speed, we can see what data that comes out with. Again, ball's in that position, take our nice setup position. Right, I feel like there's 60, 70% weight on that lead foot. From there, I'm going to keep the face nice and shut, and I'm going to get a very nice turn. You can see there, pretty solid strike. On the draw shape, you can see I've hit 5 inches ahead of the golf ball. So I've got that nice compressed shot, and we'd take that golf shot pretty much every time on the golf course. If you want to strike your irons the best you can on the golf course, practice this drill on the driving range, build it into the full swing, and you should come out with data just like that. I hope that has helped you this week. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment if there's anything you'd like to see, and we will see you next week for some more top tips.